They say that too many cooks spoil the broth, and that a camel is a horse designed by a committee. And it's true that when brands work together, it doesn't always go well. But this video is about trying to prove those old sayings wrong. I want to see the very best collaboration can create in terms of watchmaking on a budget. While it might seem obvious, I do think there needs to be some clarification here. The Adidas Digital 2 is a really good example of the distinction I want to make. The range is manufactured under license by Timex, but I wouldn't really consider it to be a collaboration because if you look at the advertising, blurb and watch itself, there is no hint that Timex are involved. That's the first of the rules that I've used to help guide my choices for the list in this video. Each watch that features has to be very clearly and openly a collaborative effort, not just one brand making a product for another. The second of my rules is that each of the watches must be budget friendly, being available at the time of writing for less than $1,000. At this point, I would usually say that each brand can only feature once on the list for the sake of variety, but as some of the collaborative pieces are between watch brands, I think that would make the list more difficult than need be to put together, so I'll drop that rule this time round. With all that said, let's get into the video. I am a huge fan of Hokusai. My entire left arm is essentially a testament to that. I have the Swatch collab as you can see from this footage, but I actually think the Timex version is better. Mostly that comes down to the T80 model used in the collaboration. Outside of Casio, I think the T80 is probably the best affordable digital piece out there. Not only that, but the collaboration itself is actually with the Met, meaning that there are other pieces in the range all adorned with famous artwork that has at some point or other been displayed in the museum gallery. Two Timex pieces back to back might feel like a bit much, but this is a very different proposition from the Hokusai model. Timex have an extensive Peanuts themed range, but in my opinion, models like this 75th anniversary Marlin are the pick of the bunch, and indeed the most popular models all share a trait with this one. They use Snoopy's arms as the hands for the watch. That demand, combined with their relatively low price point, does cause an issue. Any model with Snoopy's hands to tell the time sell out almost instantly. So if you actually want one, you need to sign up for notifications on launches and act fast. The hype around the launch is long gone for this range, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a fantastic collaboration. I think it served as an excellent gateway into horology as a hobby, and since the initial launch, there have been a lot of less hyped but nonetheless interesting versions released that are worth your time investigating. Every version is related in some way, shape or form to the original purpose of the Speedmaster, to get out into space and explore our solar system. It's simply a reality that not everyone has the means, desire or justification to buy a real Speedy, so this existing at such a low price point can only be a good thing in my view. I don't profess to know anything about Central Cee, but I do know that whether by luck or judgment, his watch collaboration with Casio filled a niche nicely. Essentially, when Casio first released their octagonal range, lovingly dubbed the Casio by fans, there was a huge clamour for a metal version. A number of third-party cases were developed, but eventually Casio released their own full metal models. The issue with them is that they're expensive. Step in Central Cee. His colourful range is metal coated, giving the desired look, but there's still resin underneath, so the price is kept at a much more affordable point. A little like Lego, Pokémon might be aimed at children, but as it's the most successful media franchise of all time and still going strong in its 30th year, those kids who grew up with Ash and Pikachu in the 90s and 2000s are adults, and so more mature collaborations like this one make a lot of sense, a little like the aforementioned adult Lego. This range is themed around Eevee and its evolutions, with one model designed after each Pokémon across 3 different styles, making for 9 watches in the range in total. Just like those pocket monsters, some are more popular than others, which does have an impact on availability and indeed prices. Frank Sinatra owned and wore several Bulova watches during his life, and the brand were sponsors of his TV show in the 1950s. It's fitting then that they've worked in collaboration with his estate to produce a watch range inspired by his songs. Personally, I think the pick of the bunch is My Way, and I guess I mean that both in terms of the song and the watch. In watch terms, I think a square sub-second dial on a square piece is actually a really nice touch and helps to accentuate the vintage aesthetic of the design. The perception from the outside looking in is that the Blancpain collaboration was Swatch trying to catch lightning in a bottle for a second time following the Moon Swatch success. There is probably some truth to that, but the 50 Fathoms collection is actually a very different proposition. Unlike the Omega, the Blancpain has an automatic mechanical movement thanks to the use of the System 51. While that can be perceived as having its own advantages and disadvantages, I think it really makes this watch stand out. The theming and decoration of the movement and caseback in particular is really unique and easily my favourite part of these models. This collaboration is a little different from the others, as the 2 brand owners are not only working together, but married. Paulin watches are typically colourful pieces with punchy fonts, whereas anOrdain's unique selling point of beautiful enamelled dials is typically too expensive to ever feature them on my list videos. That isn't the case with this collaboration, as every effort has been made to make these pieces accessible. The only issue with these watches is that the collaboration launched back in 2020, and so you do need to hunt to find them now. Giugiaro Design made their name in the automotive industry and are responsible for the looks behind some truly iconic cars. As an aside, they also designed the Alfa Romeo Brera, which is certainly not going to be considered their design pinnacle, but is one of my favourite cars and in all black is a symphony of evil. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The reason we're here is that they also designed a number of pieces with Seiko, including famous models from the Alien franchise. This more modern piece is very unconventional in its design, with its slanted dial serving the same function for driving as the Vacheron Constantin 1921. Look at this watch for a moment. For the sake of YouTube, I'll censor myself here, but feel free to add the word back in if you agree. It's really cool. When Nodus and Raven watches teamed up, they made magic happen with the Trail Trekker clay, and I can't say I've seen anything else that pulls off this stealth aesthetic anywhere near as well. The watch is stainless steel, but it's DLC coated in gunmetal grey. Then the dial and bezel are finished with a coating of Cerakote, a form of ceramic usually reserved for military and aerospace applications. The only issue is I'm not the only one who loves it, so you have to act quickly when they're in stock if you want to get one. So there we have it, what I consider to be the 10 best collaborative wristwatches available under $1,000 budget. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my list, particularly if you have experience with any of the pieces, or if you can suggest any other watches that you think could or indeed should have featured. Let's discuss your thoughts in the comments section below. Before I finish, I will just say that in this video I've added a plus after prices to indicate where there are multiple models within a range being discussed, and the price quoted is the cost of the cheapest I could find. I think that makes sense to use moving forwards, but let me know if you think it would be confusing. As ever, thank you for your time. If you've enjoyed what you've seen or found it informative, consider dropping the video a like and subscribing for more content like this in future.